Hello everybody, welcome to week number 4, module 4 of EDU 600. We're making tremendous progress considering this is a 7-week class, and come Monday we are now into the 4th week of this class. So congratulations on making it this far. So a couple of comments on week number 3. If you have not submitted your article captures, please do so as soon as possible. If you need any help, let me know. Formally, they were due last evening, but if you need a couple of extra days, please reach out to me and let me know. We can certainly work something out. I will have all of those graded in the next few days, assuming that you get them to me sooner rather than later. But once again, if you're having any kind of difficulties with these, please let me know. And as far as your group critique that you did last week, I'm running a little behind on my commenting on some of those. So just be aware that I'm reading them, and I just haven't had as much time as I thought this week. There's been a lot of professional stuff going on. So let's get to week number 4. Week number 4 is we're shifting gears. We're going to quantitative designs. Now, this may be the type of methodology research that you are more familiar with. It's often cited. You might hear about a Likert scale. You might hear that a sample of 800 people were polled across the United States. They're looking at numbers. This is quantitative research, which means really you're looking at the numbers rather than in qualitative research you may be looking at the words or the themes. But it's every bit as academic and scholarly as qualitative. It's just a different design. So to get us going in this week, I'd like to first of all mention that there are 3 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. First part is an introduction to quantitative designs. Second part is on visual displays. Third part gets into some of the numbers, some of the statistical analysis that is done with quantitative analysis, quantitative research. You don't have to fully grasp what I'm asking you to look at this week. But it's a start. We're going to be coming back to these themes, including the assessment of quantitative research and some of the statistics behind it. For those that are worried about math, don't worry. You will not be figuring out quadratic equations. Hopefully you will become familiar with some of the methods that are used to analyze the data and also to look for significance in the numbers. So let's get right to the information. So you're looking at the overview video, little introduction to quantitative research, and then down here there's some information on data, sources of data. You can take a look at that. So module 4, as I said, is parts 1, 2, and 3. I'd like you to read these 2 chapters and take a look at all of the videos in each one of these sections. This one is, once again, we are in Quantitative Designs 1. This one is really just an overview about how quantitative research is set up, the population and the sample. The idea with quantitative research is to have a sample significant enough that you can infer to the entire population. So I'd like you to take a look at this video on reliability and validity. And then there's a optional, I'll get to this in a couple of minutes, there's an optional discussion forum. You do not have to participate in this. If you decide you want to, I'd like you to take a look at the article below and then answer these questions, describe, explain, and apply the following concepts as they relate to the data reports. So you can follow that. But once again, this is optional. This is not, I will not, If you do not participate, you will not get marked. And if you do participate, you're not going to get extra points. So the reason behind that is that we have two things due next Sunday. One is the qualitative critique, and the other one is a visual display of data. And I'll go over those in a second. So here we are. Next Sunday, due July 31st, is the qualitative critique of qualitative article. So what this means is that if you were in Group A, you will be writing an article, 1,000 to 1,200 words, double-spaced, and you will be describing what you discussed as a group last week. Headings to be used in the qualitative critique. Here they are. I will send out in the next couple of days a couple of qualitative critique exemplars so you can take a look at those. So once again, these are the same headings that you used in week number 3. Now, a word of caution, and just I'd like to throw it out that if you were in charge of the purpose and the design, or let's just say if you were in charge of the sampling, the methodology, for your group, you took the lead in that, you put it out there, people commented. You can use your own words in the actual qualitative critique. Your idea, your job in this assignment is to take your materials, but also take what you learned when you were discussing your research paper this past week. Some of you are still, and you still are talking about it in your group. So I would take a look at what you wrote last week, and then I'd like you to write, this is in your voice, not your group's voice, and I'm really looking for, I would prefer not to see 6 identical quantitative or qualitative critiques from Group A. Each one of these should be different. They should have a cover page and a references page, and these are the titles that you should use. So, to clarify, if you were in Group B, making it Facebook official, then that's the article that you use for the assignment. As I say, I suggest rereading the qualitative article, read the comments in the group discussion, and then write in your own words 1,000 to 1,200 words, double space. So that does not include the title and the references page, and please try to use APA format. Any questions, please let me know. I'm here to help. So here's the research critique. Once again, directions, the headings. Oh, I made a mistake. So it is not due on June 12th. I'll correct that right while we're all online. No, I'm in the wrong spot. So I will correct that. It is due on the 31st. I thought I got all of those. Okay. So that's one of the things that are due this week. So once again, just to reorient where we are, we're on design part 4, or excuse me, module 4, part 1. So I'm going to come down here. There's part 1, part 2. Part 2 is all about visual displays. And I think a lot of people, or most people in the class, have probably experienced visual displays in the past. All that means is taking data and putting it in some kind of chart, some kind of graph, something that explains the data in simple terms. So what I'd like you to do is take a look at the quantitative analysis, visual displays part 1, Jeff Beaudry. Thank you, Jeff. And then we have visual displays of data number 2. We have various sources of data. I'd encourage you to take a look at some of these, and I'll show you in a minute where that is applicable to the assignment. And then, once again, a couple other things in here. One on pie charts, histograms, stem plots, time plots, and then an introduction to statistics. We have a few more statistical videos in part 3. Okay, here's the other assignment that's due next Sunday. Now, I do not want this to spend I don't want this to take so much of your time that you forget about the paper. The qualitative critique is more important than this. I believe the visual display assignment is worth 10 points, which is still substantial, but I give you permission not to go overboard. First thing I'd like to mention is that the assignment's due on August 3rd. This was originally due on the 31st of July, and once again, it is due. This visual display assignment is due on August 3rd. If you want to get it done by the 31st, that would be fine. Okay, so watch the videos, and then what I'd like you to do is pick a data source, and this can be one of these up here, or it could be something else, and I'll give you an example in a minute. And I'd like you to write 1 or 2 paragraphs. You don't have to beat this to death. I'd like, even if it's 1 paragraph, what is the data telling us? What is the story? And is there any other information that you can get? So let me just show you one idea. So there's a new study that came out. It's by AARP. It's research about aging and the second half of life, as they call it. So if you, and I will give you permission, if there's something that you're using professionally or something that you saw, you were reading online, I give you source examples that you can use in the directions, but if you want to use something else, please do. But I'd ask that you send me a link to the data, or not to data, the visual display. So here, the title is Happiness Grows with Age, with a significant spike in the 70s and 80s. So the source is aarp.org research based on the sample N equals 2,580 people. So what is this graph telling us? What is this chart telling us? Well, first of all, starting at under 40, 20% of the people under 40 are very happy. And then 20% of the people are not too happy. Let's go down. But you can see there's a trend here. As you get older, your happiness, you consider yourself very happy. So under age 40, well, let's go with 40, 49, because that seems like people are the least happy in that category. So in this age bracket, 16% of them self-describe them as very happy. Over 80, 34% of them consider themselves very happy. And once again, so the story I'd been looking for in here is just that. You might want to talk about under 40 and then all the way to the 80 plus, and the same thing over here. Not too happy. 20% of the people describe themselves under 40 as not too happy. Only 10% of the people that are 80 plus describe themselves as not too happy. So you can easily write 1 paragraph. That's all I'm looking for. 1 or 2 paragraphs about what is the story. You don't have to go to you don't have to spend a lot of time and energy on that. Okay, so that's it. Let me quickly wrap up. There's a lot of information in here. We're going to go to Module 4. And Module 4 really is about understanding the type of measures that are used in quantitative research. Take a look at Chapter 7, Descriptive Statistics and Data Displays. Specifically, take a look at Chapter 6 in this area. So, in addition to 7, take a look at Chapter 6 in here. Reliability and validity, that's a big concept, and when you're looking at any kind of research, mode, medium, range, standard deviation. We have the normal curve, which is talked about all the time. And then the p-value. This is the beginning of me kind of harping on the p-value. What is the p-value telling you in the research? Because if the p-value is so low and so minuscule, then that tells us something. But if it's large, then there's probably no significance in the data. So there's nothing that you have to submit in here. The two things that you have due this week: on July 31st, you have the qualitative research, and then on August 3rd, you have the visual displays assignment. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm sorry that I took 15 minutes. I was going to intentionally be less than that, but there's an awful lot of materials this week. If you'd like to Zoom with me, if you'd like to meet, if you'd like to talk, you can shoot me an email. We will set something up. We can talk, we can text, we can email. I'm here to help. So I hope you have a good week. Keep your eye out for your grades, for your article captures. The ones that I've gotten so far have been just excellent. So thank you for that. I'll see everybody online, and we'll talk soon. Bye.